Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you are going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So, my brother, I grew up in an area in Tembisa. When I was growing up, Brother Nashi, I can say that life was very difficult. But as for my mom is a Christian woman who loves God a lot. So my mom, she used to follow this other popular African pastor, and it pains me a lot. And I can't even tell my mom that this prophet that she calls the man of God is not even a man of God. And I never thought that one day I was going to end up in bed with this very popular African pastor. But here is my story. After matric, when I was in university, I then started having friends. So this friend of mine, she used to go to a lot of clubs, and she will be dating these DJs, a lot of famous DJs that are well known here in South Africa. She was dating them. So since she was dating a DJ, whenever the guy will be invited at a party where he was supposed to go and DJ, then my friend will go there. Then she ended up going with me to these VIP clubs as well. I then started to date this guy who was like a scouting agent. He would go around visiting a lot of clubs in Pretoria so that he can scout out for young talented DJs so that he can uplift them. So I was really exposed to that nightlife. And one day, this guy called me, my boyfriend, and he told me that he had been invited by this other guy who is like a very big guy. He is into these tender businesses. This guy that invited him, he was having a all white party. So he said, I want to go with you. And at that party, he had this other young talented DJ whom was going to play there for the first time. So we went there. As for my scouting agent boyfriend, he was busy with his young talent, coaching him as they were busy doing their stuff there by the music as they were busy doing their stuff, playing the music. So I was all alone, and I was really feeling lonely. Then there was this other old guy who came, and when I looked at him, you know, when someone has money, the moment that you look at them, you can see that this person is loaded. This guy, he then started to talk to me, and I got interested into him. And when I looked at my boyfriend as he was busy mixing the music, and when I looked at this old guy who was a blesser, who wanted to be my blesser, I said, young girl, this is the time for you to make the correct decision, because the challenge that me and my boyfriend had been facing, you know, these guys that are DJs, they are always having a lot of young women that are willing to date them. So whenever I would ask money from him, he would then tell me that this is the problem when you date a poor girl. All that they think about is money, and when they look at you, they think that you are actually their ATM instead of doing 50-50. So I said, to hell with his 50-50. It is far much better that I date this guy who seems to be very wealthy. When I agreed to date that guy, he then said that let us find another spot where we can go and hang out. We then went out, then we went to another place where we ended up making love. When the morning came, I then took my phone, and as I was going through my phone, I saw that the guy, my boyfriend, he had been sending a lot of message. He was angry at me, and I didn't even care. I then told him that I had found someone who was willing to treat me better, so he can just go his way and I'll go my own way. I was going to give him some time so that he can enjoy with his several girlfriends. I didn't want to be his side chick, so we didn't. So me and that guy, that was when we stopped seeing each other. I was now like an escort to this rich blesser of mine. So this guy, he has a lot of shares, a lot of hotels here in South Africa as well as in Southern Africa. He has a lot of shares. Whenever we would go out, this guy, I would see him hanging around politicians. Then there was a time when he told me that we were supposed to go on a vacation. We went there because it was sort of like a business meeting. They wanted to do a project together. So they just wanted to get the details at that vacation. Then there was one politician, and this politician, he said that I was not supposed to be seen. He then said that since this politician was the one who was going to give them this deal, this man loved his wife a lot and he hated to do deals with men that cheat on their wives. So he said, we need to avoid by all means this man. He is not supposed to see you with me. So whilst we were there, I was all alone, feeling really lonely as he was going around doing his business. So there was this other day when I was just chilling by the poolside. Whilst I was chilling by the poolside, I then saw that there was this other guy who was a familiar face, but I could not just picture the face where I had seen him. But this guy, what got me interested into him was that wherever you will be at, he always had this entourage of bodybuilders that were his bodyguards, and it was kind of like interesting. So I said maybe he's an African prince, or maybe he's the son of an African president, but he was not South African, that I could tell. So whilst I was just chilling by the poolside, he also came and he sat, but he was just looking at me. Then when he left, one of his bodyguards came. He was wearing this nice swimming wear, and I got interested. He really had a handsome body. He got onto the water later on after swimming just for a couple of minutes. He came to the place where I was. He then spoke with me. Oh, that was a great joy, because this guy, the body man, was really great. He spoke with me and I told him that I was all alone. Later on, whilst we were having a conversation, I told him that I was heartbroken, and he said that he was going to come and visit me to my place. And when he told me that he was going to come to the room where I was, I then took one of my lingerie, the one that I wanted to wear, so as to impress my blesser, and I was waiting for him whilst I was kneeling on the bed waiting to seduce him, but he could not get into the room and to be with me. He said that since he's just a bodyguard, he had been sent by his boss, and at that time this blesser of mine, like what he always does when we were on a vacation, if he would come across a very beautiful woman, he would choose to dump me and go and sleep with that woman. Well, what had happened at that place where we were having our vacation, there was this other beautiful Latino woman. So he got interested and they went, and I knew that they were sleeping together. This guy that I was dating, the blesser, I knew that he does not love a woman who is always on his case. I kept on sending him messages because he told me that this is what his wife does, asking him where he was, when was he coming to my room, and he continued to blue tick me, and I knew that I was going to be free for that night because I had made him angry. I then went into that room where I had So I then took the keys that the bodyguard had given me and I searched for the room. And then when I got into that room, that was when I found out that this guy who was waiting for me in that room, it was that same famous African pastor that my mom was always watching on this other God channel. And when I told him that I cannot be with him because he was a holy man of God, because I believed in all of the miracles that he had performed, we used to watch this guy on TV. So I was scared of being with the man of God, doing this thing that was quite evil, sleeping with him. But he continued to invite me into his bed. I was still nervous, but he did something, Brother Nashi. When I got into the bed with him, he had this purple ring that he inserted on his finger. This purple ring, it had something that looked like an emerald that was round shaped. So this emerald that was on top of his strange ring, he could actually roll it over with his finger. He kept on rolling it, and then I started to fall asleep. I had never felt so sleepy in my life. When I would wake up, I would find out that this guy will be busy making love to me until I finally woke up. When I woke up, Brother Nashi, I then found out that this guy, he was dragging me to another dimension. This guy, he had a chain that was around my neck, and he was dragging me as if I was a dog. We kept on going into that dimension, moving from this world, and we had to pass through this land that was filled with water. Whilst we were passing through that land that was full of water, that was when we saw this goddess. This goddess is still very confusing to me because her upper body, she had the body of a woman, and her body from the waist going down, you could see that this goddess or god had the body of a man. Even the face, she was not beautiful, but she was handsome, so attractive at the same time. She then came to the place where we were as that pastor was dragging me. She then asked the pastor where he was taking me to. Then the pastor told that goddess that he was going to leave me in a place where I was going to die. So what was happening, Brother Nash, is that slowly as I was fast asleep, this pastor, he was actually killing me. I was supposed to die on that night. But that goddess then said, such a beauty, we cannot waste such a beautiful young woman. Then they continued talking until they made a deal. So the deal that they made is that this goddess came to the place where I was. She lifted me and she placed me on this rock. When she had placed me on that rock, she then pushed her hand into my private parts and she pulled out my womb. Then this goddess inserted her private parts. Mind you, this goddess, like I told you, from waist going down, the goddess had the body of a man. The goddess had a manhood. As the goddess was holding my womb in her hand, she started to make love to me like she was masturbating herself until the goddess had ejaculated. Then she pushed my womb back into my stomach. So the curse that was placed in my womb, it goes on like this. They gave me a second chance to live, but this second chance, it comes at a price. Any man that I sleep with, Brother Nashi, I curse that man. I then drag that man to the dark world. Their soul is going to be harvested by this goddess, meaning that the person, when the person dies, will belong to the devil himself. This is the deal that they gave me. When I woke up, this pastor was nowhere to be seen. The bodyguard then came, and when the bodyguard then came, when the bodyguard came, told me that the pastor had said that he was going to give me 37,000 rands. So I got scared. I said, this money, how am I going to take it back home? Because we were supposed to pass through an airport. Then the bodyguard said, no, just give me your account number. I then gave the bodyguard the account number, but it was my mom's account number. Even when I returned back home, my mom was scared because she was like, all this money, where did you get all of this money? I don't want the house to come on our doorstep investigating you. That is the encounter that I had with this fake prophet, and I feel so sorry for my mom because I do not even want to tell her that this is the encounter that I had with that prophet that she loves a lot. And the problem that I am facing, Brother Nashi, when it comes to men, it is like there is a spirit that has now entered into my body. I lack decency. I don't care. I just date for the sake of dating, and I know that this spirit is the one that is controlling me because it wants a lot of souls to go to hell, and I target this decent young men and they cannot resist me, Brother Nashi. No matter how hard I try to tell myself that I need to be a decent woman, but I have failed. I keep on being promiscuous. If I meet a man in the morning, in the afternoon, I would have slept with that man. I don't care if I meet this man online or physically, as long as we are in contact. When the guy just tries his luck, when he says, can you come to my place? Immediately, I would tell him to send me his location so that I can go and be with him. And after sleeping with that dude that I would have gone to see him at his place, I will then start to hate that guy. I will take my clothes and get out of his room because already his soul would have been harvested. Yeah, dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. It was sent to me by one of our admins. Just imagine, she goes around harvesting souls of men that she sleeps with. Yo,